So, I believe it was back in the first week of February when this happened, but as you can tell by the title of this video, I happened to see Gorod. But not only did I see Gorod, I also opened for them, and that was a really, really cool experience. I was with my band Helldawn. Well, I say my band, but they're not really my band per se. Um, Myself and Erin, my girlfriend, we have been playing in Mistwalker for a while, and we eventually found a guy by the name of William Boisvert, to play live guitar for us because, of course, Mistwalker is my solo project. I write and record everything there, but I needed other musicians to help bring it to the stage. So Erin offered to play bass, so I asked her and she said yes. And then we found Will, and we asked Will to join, and he said yes too. But Will is also part of this death metal band called Helldawn, and they were seeking a drummer and a bassist. So it just kind of seemed like the right fit. So he asked us to join, and we said yes. We played two shows with Helldawn, and then the third was when we got asked to open for Gorod at Foof's here in Montreal. Now, we were the first band to go on, and the interesting thing about this night is that our vocalist, David, he doesn't live in Montreal. He lives in Trois-Rivières, which is like, I don't know, like an hour away from here. It's like out of the way, definitely, for him to be in this band that's based in Montreal, playing shows in Montreal. So we get to the venue, and we find out that David's not there. He's going to be late. Well, at first we thought he wasn't going to show up at all, but he managed to get a ride, and he was on his way, but the show is starting at a specific time, so we were kind of like, oh, we're going to have to perform instrumentally without a vocalist, which we've never done before. So this is going to be quite a challenge. So we get up on stage, we start playing, we go right into Evolution, which I believe is the song that I've also uploaded on this channel with us playing from that show. And as we're getting like halfway through the song, David shows up and just jumps up on stage, fucking takes the mic, and immediately starts killing it. And yeah, we fucking finished our set. We actually had our vocalist, and that was fucking awesome. Now, the unfortunate thing is, I said unfortunately twice. We unfortunately did not play very well. I'll fully admit that there were a lot of mistakes from everyone involved. On my end, I was playing on the drum set from Gorod's drummer, who is like, they're a tech death band. I'm not a tech death drummer. And this drum set was out of this world. It was one of the biggest drum sets I've ever played, and it was set up super weirdly, and I just wasn't used to it. So I dropped the sticks like, I don't know, 6 or 7 times throughout the course of our set. And on top of that, my sticks kept getting caught in my hair, which doesn't usually happen. But unfortunately, this night, a very important night, it did. And that fucking sucked. But, we still went through it. We did manage to pick things up towards the end. The very last song that we played, I think we did a good job on. But other than that, we did kind of shit the bed, more or less. But unfortunately, as well, that ended up being the last show that Erin and I played for Helldawn because we just didn't have time to be in the band anymore. We had Mistwalker on the go. We're trying to start another band, like a crust punk, crossover thrash band right now. And adding a third band on top of that, especially when I'm touring with Fog Lake actively, it was just way too much. And then, you add in other things too, like, for example, trying to stay healthy, going to the gym all the time, being in a relationship, wanting to spend quality time with my partner outside of music, then being in all those bands, working a full-time job, and all of the heavy Newfoundland stuff that I do on the side. So it just didn't make any sense. And, Erin herself, she's in school full-time, right? And now she has a part-time job. So it just didn't make any sense to be in a third band. So that's why we had to leave. And we're still on very, very great terms with all the other guys in Helldawn. Super, super talented musicians. Will is still in Mistwalker, so no harsh feelings or anything. It's just a logistical reason why we had to leave. But after we got off stage, the next band that went up was Demence, and Demence is a band that is, their guitar player or bassist, I'm not entirely sure. His name is Matt Paré, and he is the guy who actually booked this show. He booked Gorod's entire tour, and he's the guy who runs Extreme Productions, I believe is the name of the promotion agency. So Demence is kind of like a death metal band, and the cool thing about them is they get up on stage in these wacky outfits that are kind of like bloody surgeon aprons and shit, and their vocalist has like a mask on and you can't really see his face. And they're actually really, really good. I've seen them play before, but this night they just weren't on their game. You know, you could tell that they were also kind of nervous, especially their drummer. Their drummer was like fucking up all the time, and considering that I did the same thing, I felt his pain. But, every band out there does have the bad show. Like, every time you do a tour, you always got that one gig where you just kind of fuck up and you can't play consistently all the damn time unless you're like some kind of world class trained musician or you've been in the game for a really, really long time. So, when it comes to local bands fucking up, because Dements are from Montreal, like, you can't criticize them too much for that because it's just something that comes with more time, especially as you get more stage experience. Um, After that, it was, I don't exactly know how to pronounce their name. I think it's Killitorous, basically. And they're also a tech death band, but they have a bit more pizzazz and a bit more energy. Like, they're not like the Archspire kind of energy, but they think tech death approached from the ethos and the energy of the Black Dahlia murder or Ailstorm. Like, that's how I would describe it. It's kind of like silly tech death, and they were really entertaining to watch. Like me and Aaron, we both got in the mosh pit a couple times, and they had a really, really fun set. It's not a band whose music that I'd probably listen to like extensively, but for what they were, I really, really enjoyed them. And then the final part of the show, of course, was Gorod, a legendary tech death band from France, coming over here to North America to do a whole North American tour, again organized by Extreme Productions. Um, and they were really, really fun to watch, but I was really bummed that they didn't play Varangian Paradise. Or is it yeah, Varangian Paradise. That's the name of the song. Because that's my favorite song by them. It's got this really, really cool, like, funky bass and guitar intro that sounds, like, so out of place for the genre, but really experimental, and it's super catchy. And I remember the first time I heard that song when I was a teenager, I was kind of like, this is unlike anything I've ever heard in the death metal genre. I want more of this. But they didn't even play that song, which kind of sucked. I did go down to the mosh pit at one point and was having a lot of fun until I slammed my skull into another dude's skull, and that fucked me up. Uh, I like there was like still like a bump on my head for literally like 5 or 6 days after the fact, and I have a pretty thick skull, so these like head injuries they don't have that much of an effect on me. I know that sounds stupid, but like I've actually been hit in the head like so many times throughout the course of my life, and to my knowledge, haven't gotten a concussion yet. So there's that. But in spite of being wounded, I really, really enjoyed Gorod's set. I thought that they were really cool in spite of not playing that one song that I like by them. And Killitorous was a lot of fun. Demence was cool, even though they fucked up a bit. And just the fact that I got to open for Gorod, who, again, like I said, legendary French tech death band. That's something that's really cool and something that it's just a neat addition to my musical resume. That's the best way I could describe it. But I do want to give a shout out to Extreme Productions for giving Helldawn a chance to open for that band and to be on that bill. It was really, really cool. And if you are a drummer or a bassist and you live in the Montreal area, I would recommend hitting the guys in Helldawn up, because now that me and Aaron are no longer in the band, they're in need of someone to replace us. So, yeah, if you play those instruments, hit them up. And until next time, stay fucking heavy.